What's going on there, guys? Back with another one. We got to talk about it, man, as Patrick Beverly has responded to some comments made by Matt Barnes recently. And this thing actually goes back a little further than most remember. Now, years ago, Patrick Beverly appeared on ESPN First Take on Get Up. He was doing an ESPN run, and he made some inflammatory comments about Chris Paul, which Matt Barnes came on the air and gave a rebuttal on that same network later that day on, I believe it was NBA Today at the time, or whatever Malika Andrews show is called, but he was on there and he gave a rebuttal. We're gonna look back at that first to see how we got here today.
Do guys in the NBA go to sleep early the night before playing the Phoenix Suns? Hell no. No.
You mean as a team, or would you talk about Chris Paul individually?
Chris Paul individually.
Okay.
No. I'm going to Steak 44 over there in Phoenix. I'm going to have me a nice little wine, probably sweat it out, and the pregame shoot around and get ready for Chris Paul. Steph Curry, I'm going to bed at 8 o'clock. Mom, don't call me. My girl, don't call me. I'm locked in right now. Man, ain't nobody worried about Chris Paul when he play Phoenix Suns. Nobody in the NBA.
Well, what did I just say, though?
And I'm just letting you know how NBA players feel and think.
I believe you, but what I'm saying
He's
is...
finessed the game to a point where he gets all the petty calls, all the swipe throughs at the end. I mean, this guy is out, man. We gonna be honest? We want to be really honest?
Yes.
He should have fouled out. He should have fouled out. The last game, too. You see the replay against Brunson, hit him on the shoulder, hit him in the mouth, ref don't call anything.
But what I want to touch on real quick, RJ, is the disrespect I saw from Pat Beverly earlier today. As reporters, part of the media, we have a job to be critical, but I think there's a thin line between being critical and disrespecting. And I feel like what Pat Beverly did today to Chris Paul was completely disrespectful and out of the line. And Pat Beverly's talking like he's that guy. You're not that guy. Plain and simple. Chris Paul played terrible this year, and his numbers are still better than your career numbers have ever been. So I just think you have to understand, Chris is a 12-time All-Star. He played terrible. First time, all defense 9 times, 7 times first team all defense. He'll be a Hall of Famer. Pat Bev and I were similar type role players. They don't talk about us when we go. They're going to talk about CP3 when he's done. And I just think the disrespect we saw earlier today on the ESPN shows need to be checked because he was way out of pocket. All he needed was the red clown nose because he was out there talking like a clown today. And I just think, to me, again, the CP is a legend in this game. Again, we were role players in this game, so have some respect for guys. He did play terrible. He'd be the first one to tell you, but the shots that Bev took today were just out of pocket. I know no one else is going to tell him that, so I'm going to tell him that.
Now, Matt Barnes brought it right to his doorstep, saying that we were not those type of players to speak on someone of Chris Paul's status the way that he was doing it, right? You can criticize those players, but be downright disrespectful, say nobody's worried about them. When you have a player like Chris who has a proven blueprint where he goes to Lob City, even, starting out in New Orleans, but going to Lob City, going to Phoenix brings a winning culture. Phoenix ain't been the same since he left, and you've brought in people like KD, so it shows that he has a certain type of effect on a team. And he's a certain level of captain, leader, things off the court. And SGA has spoke to how instrumental that year was with Chris Paul that he had, to kind of look at his habits and watch what he does. So here's where we are now today. Let's check out what they said.
So this, to me, it was less about the rankings of the players they're talking about and more just about Pat Bev's energy. I mean, this dude gets yeah. I mean, he gets kicked off his own show and replaced on his own show. He goes through legal troubles, which you never really want to laugh about. I'm glad they were able to straighten the legal troubles out. But you get kicked off your own show. Yeah, you get kicked off your own show. Barstool plays in your face. Your partners don't want you back, and you figure, now let me try to go viral. Let me try to get my own shit off the ground by shooting at D Wade, who doesn't fuck with no one, stays in his own lane. And I was glad D Wade said something. You know what I mean? Because D Wade is very non-confrontational. He's chilling. He's living his life. Yeah. He's a Hall of Famer. He doesn't need to do this. And now I saw Pat Bev switch the conversation to a three. He's not a three. Who gives a fuck if he's a three-point shooter or not? The motherfucker did it on the highest level. Three-time NBA champ. Averaged, 36 in the finals at one point. He's a finals MVP, 11 or 12-time All-Star. And again, both James and D Wade, it's definitely a debate. But I think, in my opinion, Wade gets the nod. But I think Pat Bev is doing what people hate about sports media is you're trying to do the clickbait. You're trying to take shots at people to try to put yourself back in a spotlight that you lost. You know, you went away to play, then you got in some trouble. You get kicked off your own show.
Yeah.
I just, you know, and I like, I've seen Pat, the one time I said something to Pat, he tried to say some slick shit about CP a while back, and I had to check him on ESPN. But overall, I think he has a lot of talent. He adds insight to it, but just don't become a Jason Shitlock. Don't try to rebuild your reputation or your platform by trying to shit on people.
Matt, it's like you don't debate the debate. You feel me? You like to attack. Looks like character. Like every time I turn around, you got something to say about Pat Bev, bro. Like, and it's not debating a debate. It's, oh, he going through some legal troubles. That's weird. He lost his show. That's weird. Like, everyone knows that. That's clickbait. Like, that's clickbait shit, right? So I'm not Derek Fisher, bro. Like, bro, I am not Derek Fisher. Like, and you could take that left or you could take that right, however you want to take that. Like, bro, this ain't that. Like, you feel me? Like, I've never mentioned you, never spoke nothing about you, never said anything in anything I had to deal with media regarding you. Anytime I make a opinionated opinion, you feel like you need to come in and have a rebuttal attacking me, not what I've said based off facts and stats. So I'm gonna take a page out of D Wade book on this one. Matt Barnes, you weren't better at me in basketball than nothing. Zero, nothing. Points per game. And you played 300 more games than me, right? You played 14 seasons, I played 12. Nothing. Points per game, assists per game, steals per game, games started in the NBA playoffs, career earnings, like nothing. Like you wasn't better than me at anything. Defensive awards, you don't like. I got a first team in 2 seconds, like nothing. A Mr. Hustle award, nothing. Like, so like, I get it. If you feel some type of way about me, all right, cool. We can have it. But like, to attack character, to do this, Pat Bev, that's what's wrong with media. Like, man, ain't anybody trying to hear that clown shit. And I ain't no motherfucking Derek Fisher, man. This ain't that. Like, this ain't that. Like, you got good people. We know the same people. Ask Jack about me. Ask Trevor Reza about me, man. Like, this ain't that. Like, this ain't that. Like, if you want to debate with facts, we can debate with facts. All that attacking people character, man, I don't do none of that. I'm opinionated and I back my opinions up with hard facts. You like it, you like it. You don't, you don't.
Now, Pat Bev talks about facts, and the context of the facts can be important pieces here that we do have to observe and be fair in our criticisms about. Matt Barnes is pretty much saying, look, D Wade's highs, you know, you look at the highest points of his career, you have no right to speak on that. You know, in the way that you did. If you like James Harden better, fine. But for me personally, and this is just me talking, I think we saw why Wade was a better player than James Harden on both ends of the floor. Not, you know, the arm ripped through and getting to the line all those times, the way he was getting to the line, right? It was the way, not the fact he was getting there, but just the arm snatch up under the defender and initiating the contact, you know, with the arms and still getting the foul calls in your favor. And then when the postseason comes, everybody wonder why you 2 for 19, you know, 3 for 20 and stuff like that. It's because they're not going to call that in the postseason. Whereas Dwayne Wade, he could play through contact, play above the rim. And Wade started getting some gimmicky fouls later towards the end of his career. Head fake, you know, jump into the space of the defender, which I didn't like those either. But he also could come up with steals, big blocks. There was other ways he could impact the game that just wasn't in James Harden's wheelhouse, you know, as far as a player. And I think James, when you look at him and his best asset and what has allowed him to stick around is his ability to handle the ball handling and facilitate for a team. He's a 2, but he is better suited when he has the ball all the time, like a point guard, to maximize his abilities and the things that people love about him the most. So when I look at them two, there's no comparison for me. If I wanted a 2 guard, I'm definitely going with D Wade. You start talking about competing against prime Kobe, prime Jordan, you're gonna need somebody that explosive, that's smaller like that athletic, that explosive. Wade is gonna compete with those guys better than a prime James Harden is gonna compete against those guys if you're talking about over the course of a series. And that's one of the ways I look at it as well. So but as far as Matt Barnes, he has some things to say. Pat Bev said, "Look, I ain't Derek Fisher, so if you think you're gonna see me and try to check me based off what I said, it's gonna go left." He's just putting it out there. He said, "Take it right, take it left, whichever way you want to take it." So he's not necessarily worried about Matt Barnes getting upset and wanting to fight. Because a lot of times Matt Barnes, he hears somebody want to say something, he want to get on them. He told Kwame Brown, "You can come up to the show and we can box and do all that." And that's when Kwame said you jump up and down on him like a trampoline because, for you to be mad and you were joking about me first. And this is what I don't like too. Pat said what he said about CP3 is a bigger name. They call Kwame Brown nobody. So look, if we're gonna set the standard for not joking about people, you just ain't gonna joke about nobody's career, because his words, Matt Barnes' words, was it being disrespectful. That was disrespectful to Kwame Brown. Anybody that's seen Kwame Brown when he played in high school, it's highlights of the McDonald's All-American game, and you got Summer League highlights. He made a move like a guard out there on the perimeter. A lot of YouTube comment sections cannot do. And he could pull up, he could shoot, he could do everything. And anybody that knew how he moved when he was younger, by the time I believe he was with the Lakers, you could tell he was hurt. You could tell he was hurt, and playing through some things. If you remember how he moved coming out of high school, or if you had a chance to see him in high school. So, I just want to throw that out there only because Matt Barnes talked about the disrespect factor of it. So he can disrespect Kwame Brown, but Patrick Beverly can't disrespect Chris Paul. No, let's just not disrespect nobody and talk about the game of basketball. When you call somebody nobody and they made it to the league and they played for the amount of years Kwame played, that sends the wrong impression to children. If you could be a player, a role player in the league for that amount of time, that's a win. And so much about basketball at that level is fit, where you drafted to, how they develop you. All that comes into it. Are you on a team where you're going to get touches? Are they going to put you in optimal position to score? Are you on a team where you get 4 shots or you get 12 shots a night? All this stuff goes far in your career. So, yeah, man, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.